Well, I honestly think that this is one of the most important and one of the most powerful messages that I have ever, and maybe will ever, delivered on this channel. And I'm really hoping that I can articulate it the way that I've been moving through it. And I just feel like this is the new timeline. Like, this is the timeline split, and this is existing in it. And so apologies if you hear this lawnmower in the background. I know you guys don't normally hear the things that I'm like, I hope it's not messing up the camera. I used to work in production, so like it was a lot of like the audio is always very important, or often very important. So anytime there was a plane or anything, we'd have to like stop, and it was this whole thing. And so I'm always naturally listening for that kind of stuff. I also have Aslan on the leash. I don't know if you can see him down here, just because he can't really be in the house for like 20 minutes on his own yet. He's still a puppy, and so he would maybe get into the dog food bag that just arrived or something. Anyway, my heart is so happy to be here in Portugal. I feel very in alignment with being here right now. I think it just has taken some time. Like, this is probably the least that I've ever posted on YouTube in a month. I think in the whole month I've maybe posted 3 times. It's been not so often. And I post like every day or every other day, right? And so that's just because I think for the first time I've really allowed myself to take my time to decompress, because what happened in Ireland, like that was intense. To get stranded on the island for 5 months, like that was a lot. It was divine and it was perfect, and it really pulled me away from a pattern and a timeline that like I don't know that I would have even really seen in that way had that not happened like that. So I had come from, 2 years of travel, and a lot of that was in Italy on the farm, where the farm was like, when people would message me about the farm in Italy, they would say like, oh my gosh, that must be so peaceful. That must be so relaxing, like being on a horse farm in Italy. And I would just laugh every time, because I understand why it seems like it would be that way. But this is pretty typical for all farms. But the farm itself, when people would actually get there, they would be shocked, because it is a healing environment, but it's not like a peaceful healing environment. It's what real healing is. It brings you to the energy there. It like brings you to your shadow side. A lot of people have this experience where it brings you to your shadow side really quickly, because you're confronted with a lot, with a very confronting environment, with an environment that is very unpredictable. Like when you have hundreds of animals and all these people from all over the world coming together in this 60 acres of land and spending all day together every single day, and like not really like connected with the outside world, it becomes like a healing portal. So it was beautiful and wonderful, and I love the farm, and I love the animals, and I love the people there. And so going into that environment in Ireland, where I was held there by myself for 5 months, it really it was like the polar opposite, right? And it in a way allowed me to decompress and to see that timeline in Italy a lot better and clearer, and like in a way that, just getting on the outside and looking back at it, it helped me process a lot of stuff that I experienced there, which was good. And then coming here to Portugal, you guys know, I started doing Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, which has been my most popular ever program for myself and for everyone in it. Hundreds and hundreds of people are in it right now. And it's my method of using your own voice to reprogram your subconscious mind. It's like your own voice is as unique as your fingerprint. And they say that on the banking apps. Like if you call your bank, I don't remember which bank I called, but I called one of my US banks, and they said that in the waiting recording. They're like, did you know your voice is as unique as your fingerprint? Because they were verifying me with my voice. And I was like, wow, that aligns with why I've been downloaded with this idea of Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis and Nove, which is my app that I've been designing here. I came here really to focus on the app and to designing that, because it's going to be this really beautiful space where you can go so deep in reprogramming your subconscious mind, like so many layers, using the frequency of your voice in the expansion of this method. So if you want to sign up for Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, I think that it is the most like powerful thing that you could do, especially right now. There was a huge energy upgrade on December 4th, and then also December 19th, I believe, is the next one. December 4th just happens to be the day that the first full day here that I had in Portugal. It wasn't supposed to be that way, but with the delays and everything of the flight, I explained it in 2 videos ago. I arrived here. So I was like settling into this new timeline on that day of a really powerful upgrade. And so things have been very much in alignment with every time I tell you guys there's one of these upgrades from like 3i Atlas or solar flares or something like that. So December 19th is another big one. So we should be having something like really powerful happen then, but also it's a great time of magnetizing the energy. And so I really do think that doing this kind of subconscious work is very powerful to do then. I'm also going to, I haven't quite finished like the details of what I want it to be, but it's going to be something else, like another layer of designing your dream life for 2026, the year of the horse, a very, very powerful year, the end of a 9-year cycle. I think that this year is going to be very powerful. I've never been on board with like I don't care about New Year's Eve resolutions. New Year's Eve is let me know in the comments if anyone has ever had this experience before, because it's profound. Every single New Year's Eve, whatever happens on my New Year's Eve, I try to like remove the attachment and the anticipation, everything around it, because it's been so accurate every single year. But anytime, whatever happens on New Year's Eve is like a preview of what happens in my next year. And so like the people that I see, the things that I do, the feelings that I have, the places that I go, the places that I'm in, like all of that ends up playing, like it's like a preview, like what do you watch in movies, like the preview trailer. It's like a trailer of what's going to happen, or like a sneak peek of what's going to happen. So I think that we can be very intentional with that energy of the New Year's Eve and New Year's Eve month moving into 2026, a very powerful year. So I arrived here into Portugal, and then for the last almost 2 weeks now, wild, I've been here settling in, like getting to know this timeline, like this unexpected timeline. I thought I'd be back in Italy. And so now I'm just like walking around like, okay, wow, I'm here now for, I don't know how long yet, but I'm here now. And this is exactly what I've been looking for. I was looking for, like in my hypnosis, I'm saying like, I want to be around like-minded people where there's healthy food and yoga and like an emphasis on consciousness. And there's, I'm close to the beach. I can see the ocean. I'm looking at the ocean right now. And there's space for my animals. Like I'm in this yard that's fenced in for the animals. And so it's just like, it's very divinely perfect. And what I've been trying to process from this past 2 weeks that I touched a little bit on, but I didn't want to keep showing up on here or online as I was moving through this, because that's what I used to do. So what has happened was that there was mold in this house. And if you guys know, which some of you might, but I wasn't sharing on YouTube at that time on this channel, my whole health journey was about mold and Lyme. And so when I was going through mold, I don't know, it was 6 years ago, like it was for a long time, but around that chapter of life 6 years ago, it was like my whole world was about mold, cleaning mold, avoiding mold, testing for mold, looking for new homes without mold, doing the ERMI test, the Hurts Me test, doing ozone, like all of this stuff, and doing the treatments as well. My first year of treatment was $400,000. Like insurance covered a lot of that, not all of it, not like it was a significant amount. Like I was working from my laptop as I was doing 6 hours a day in the IV chair just so that I could pay for the IV. And it was just like, it was a wild time. And I was sharing about it on Instagram at that time. And so because I was sharing about it on Instagram, I think it really served me at that time. Like I connected with a community about like mold and Lyme, and they would, support me and I would support them, and they would give me ideas and I would give them the ideas. And it's existing now, I'm sure, a beautiful thing to have that kind of space online, or those kind of spaces in general, for people that are going through whatever you're going through. And so I didn't want to share about this right now because I was like, I want to go about this differently. And this isn't the same. Like, I'm so sure this isn't the same. Like, I'm not going to end up in the IV chair. I had to like tell my nervous system that I'm not going to end up in the IV chair. I don't have to run and blah, 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 blah. But I did, like, when I first went to go take a bath, you guys know I wanted this house as well because it has a bathtub. So I was taking a bath and I was looking under the ledge for where like you put stuff like soaps and stuff. And there was like a bunch of mold there. I was like, don't freak out. And I had sprayed it. And then the next morning I woke up and my eyes were swollen shut. And then the next morning as well, I had this really gnarly like pressure headache in the front. And then like, I might get migraines. I don't really know how to identify if it's a migraine or a headache or neck pressure or whatever, but there was like intense pressure in the back of my head too. Every time I would stand up, it would be like thumping and I would feel like I was going to pass out. And so I was just like, okay, this is a lot. And then the guest room started smelling like mold to me. And the humidity was really crazy inside. Like the windows were really wet inside. My clothes were really wet. And then it rained and then the water was coming through the door. It was like a nightmare this day. Water was coming, which is like, it's all perfect and divine, but water was coming through the door. Like the door, it was just, the door was soaked. And then there was water dripping through the walls. Like it was coming through the wall and like dripping onto the inside of the window. And then it was coming from underneath the other door. There was like not a stopper or something. So it was like flooding in the kitchen. And I was just like also still dealing with the symptoms and also seeing all this. And it was just, and smelling the guest room. And it was like my living nightmare, right? Especially after everything. After getting off the island, going through all of that to get off the island, like thinking at the time, and I'm back to thinking this, but thinking like Portugal was going to be my safe place to decompress and all this stuff. And then I was dealing with that in this house and I was like, okay, I probably have to find another house. And so I found another house. I went to go see it and I was like so sure it would be fine, like better. It wasn't in an ideal location compared to this. This is like a wonderful location. I love everything else about the house right now. But I was like, I'm willing to sacrifice the view and the everything just to be healthy. Like that's the number one thing. Your health is your wealth. And so I went to go see it and I was thinking because it has a heater and AC and all that, it would be good. But when I went in, I'm glad I arrived early. I just happened to arrive early because we opened it and she didn't have time to like spray or whatever. So it smelled a lot like mold. The closet had black, like it was the color black. I don't know if it was actually black mold. There's many different kinds of toxic molds, but there was black visible mold and all over the closet. And yeah, it wasn't good. Like, you know, and she was obviously embarrassed. Like she was saying like, oh, I got to clean that. And it hasn't been used for a while. And to me, I don't care. Like if it's not being used, it should still have proper airflow. But things are different here. And so it's very humid here in this part of Portugal in the winter time. I guess like it's very overcast. So I was like, and there's not many options right now on the market. And so I was like, okay, my house is the best option then. And the way that the owners of this house came and handled it when it was wet, they painted over the wet door. They painted over the wet spots that were leaking and they just painted over it. And so I was like, it just was not handled the way that I would handle it either. And so of course my nervous system was just like, ah! And so this whole thing has forced me to really commit back to my brain retraining. And so 21 Days to Regulate teaches about brain retraining and how to do the steps that I do. So I've been committing to an hour a day, which is what I recommend for if you're doing the program. An hour a day for at least 21 days. A lot of the brain retraining programs will tell you 6 months. That is, committing to that amount of time is how I got my health back and I'm able to travel the world and not be house ridden anymore, bedridden anymore. So I started doing my 1 hour a day, and immediately after I did the first day of doing an hour of rounds, my HRV went up, my swelling went away, my pressure headache went away. And it's so interesting too because, I don't like how they painted over the stuff in the house, but I told them about like the guest room and everything, and they came and I don't know what they did. They took care of it, and I ran the ozone to like kill all the mold spores that would be in the air, because I don't like how people take care of mold usually with like bleach. It's not ideal. It releases these other things into the air which are not good for you either. So I have my ozone machine. I've been running that. I asked them for a dehumidifier. They brought that, which is really kind, a new dehumidifier. And so they've been running that. And so it's much warmer in the house now because it's not so wet, and it's like things are better, and I'm not reacting in the house. It doesn't smell like mold anymore. The water's not coming through anymore. It's like a completely different house. Like it's a different timeline in the house. And I didn't have to run away again. And I didn't have to freak out anymore. And so it brought me to the thing that was the solution, was practicing peace. And so I was on the phone with my aunt last night, and I was telling her, we were catching up and we're really close. So I was telling her about everything, like the travel story of getting here and all of that. And we were just identifying that pattern, that chaos pattern. You guys know, a lot of you know, I was going to name my horse Chaos, and a lot of people said, don't do it. And I understand why. And I, like, obviously he didn't even survive. Like, and so people were saying, don't name him. It's a bad omen to name him Chaos. But Chaos was his name. And since the moment he was born out of chaos. Like the whole day of when they were breeding was absolute chaos. And I don't not like chaos. Chaos has been an amazing teacher to me. It's going to start raining now, speaking about chaos. But chaos is an amazing teacher to me and to everyone. And it always has been. Always has been. My nervous system has been so used to chaos. And there's also the part that we were talking about, like, in what we talk about often here, is the part of manifestation, where you choose with your free will what you want, and then there's the crumble and the chaos and the void, and then we move into the new timeline often. But what we were talking about last night was that there's also a timeline, a process, a flow, where you choose the timeline and you're guided to there with ease, and you're guided to there through peace. And of course, maybe some things fall apart, but it doesn't have to be so chaotic. And you get to choose. And I was, sitting with it, and I was like, well, how do we choose? The way that we choose that route, instead of the chaotic route of redirecting our life, we choose that by teaching our body peace. And so everything goes hand in hand. So I've been guided to, I was like, we were talking about what is the lesson? Why did I have this experience again with this house and the mold and like all that? And ultimately, the only option I was left with was to practice peace. And then everything went away. And so by practicing peace, you teach your body what it's like. Because most of us that experience this, we don't know what it's like to feel peace and to feel ease and to feel flow and for things to just be easy. There's a lot of beliefs around that where, easy and flowy is boring. It's like, not exciting, and it's all this stuff, and that you need the chaos in order to make you motivated, and like all these different subconscious layers to it. And so in these experiences, I've been able to see my attachment with those. And of course, for a long time, I've been aware of them, but they came into my face, into my reality for a reason, so that I could really clear it. And so I opened my journal today, and I don't remember writing this. I've already made it like halfway through the pages in this journal. I want to finish this message outside, but it's going to start raining pretty heavily. So I'm going to try and wrap it up quick. Even though this is such a good message, we'll just sit here in the rain. It's fine. Chaos. But the first thing that I wrote in my journal when I first started journaling was remembering peace. ... And I've never, since I wrote that, seen that until today, which is so funny. And so the other thing that happened yesterday was so this weekend I made some friends. I made a friend who we ran into each other. I'm going to move this back. We ran into each other 3 times. I didn't know him, but he came and sat down with me at a coffee shop. And then I saw him 2 other times that day, like all throughout town, like different far away parts. And so when you see someone 3 times, I've heard this and this always feels to be true, then you're meant to... I'm going to go inside. Okay, we have returned back inside. So here's inside. You guys haven't seen it yet. It's a bit dark inside right now. I guess I could turn the light on. But the doggies are on the couch. I have like a couch cover on there. It's like a cute bungalow. I was not prepared to have guests in here. But but I do love it in here. So anyway, what we were talking about was when you see somebody 3 times. So I had run into this person 3 times in 3 different locations, and I was like, what could this be? Like, what does this mean? And so I had another friend who's part of that like Lyme community, the Lyme and mold community. I've had her as friends online for a while, and I saw was in Portugal. She had told me about this event that was happening here, and she's like, you should go. I can't go, but it's this like cute market thing. And then he had brought it up too. Duchess. She saw a new box for the dehumidifier. And so he invited me, and he's like, do you want me to take you? And I could bring the dogs and everything. And so he ended up bringing me to that, which then I met so many people there. And like, that's been something I've been really wanting to do, is meet new friends. And then yesterday, he also invited me to another party thingy at a coffee shop, like for one of his friends who was going away. So I met more people there. So it's been like a beautiful few days of just settling in and like really now starting to like connect with the community and everything here. So that's been amazing. And then yesterday, the owners of this house, they came and they did some work on all the water stuff and everything. And they were here for longer than expected. And so as soon as I got back from that coffee party, I went down to the beach. And I was just sitting there and just kind of watching the sunset. It was like such a beautiful sunset. I'll put a photo here. So there is this beautiful sunset. And as it was happening, like the waves here right now, they're insane. Like this is Portugal is a crazy surf spot. We have Nazaré, which if you've ever heard about it. I went there a couple years ago with my brother. The day when a world record was set, it was like 100-foot waves. They had just the other day, this past week has been really crazy too. So like the water is really insane. Like there's a lot of energy to it, which is so powerful in its own. Like I've seen different things about how when a wave crashes, the ions, they don't stop moving, like the momentum, it just keeps going. So even after it crashes, like that feeling that you're getting from the ocean, like it is a real energetic charge that is hitting you. That's why it feels so healing to be by the ocean. I love being by the ocean. I already feel myself like healing. I feel my mitochondria reigniting and all that. And so I was sitting there and I was watching the crazy waves just crash everywhere. And I was connecting with my divine team. And I was just like, do you have any messages for me? And I was getting my clear message, the way that they communicate with me. And they were telling me, you're in the eye of the storm. And then they showed me I wish I had a video of this, but I was just so in this moment. And so there was this like circle in the crashing water. So the waves are crashing everywhere. They're like really rolling in as they do here. But there's this one perfect circle where it was just like really, it was almost to the sand, but it was like a very shallow amount of water and like there was no wave crashing on it. It was just like a perfect circle of like nothing. And I was like, huh. And as they were telling me you're in the eye of the storm, it started like shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And I was like, well, I don't want to go back into the storm. Like, is this just temporary? How do I stay in the eye of the storm? And then they told me as it like it shrank and then it just disappeared and it just became part of the ocean and went to its natural flow. They told me in that moment, like, there is no more eye of the storm. There is no more storm. Like what is happening now is you are forever the eye of the storm within the flow of the ocean. You're like one drop of the ocean, but in the eye of the storm as a drop in the ocean. And that was profound as it was. And then I'm on the phone with my aunt, who I call her my magic genie because she's really good at channeling, and she'll like get into this flow state and she'll like her team or whoever starts speaking to me through her. So it's really cool. And so she started doing that and she's like, you're in the eye of the storm. I was like, hold on. What did you just say? And I interrupted the channel because I was so excited. But she pretty much was saying like, you're in the eye of the storm, but also that there is no more eye of the storm. There is no more like storm, not like being in the storm, being in the eye. Like there's no more of that. And that's what then, like that was the confirmation that everything that we were talking about was really important message and like very much connected from the divine and delivered to us, to me, and now to you. And so the theme of this is that there's not just one way of manifestation, and there's not just one way that you have to live. Just because your nervous system is used to the chaos and used to the challenge being the driving force to make you productive and make you go after it, make you a great creator, it doesn't mean that it's the only way. And so the other part of that we were talking about was like, you don't want to lose, like for me, I don't want to lose my adventurous spirit, my, you know, nomadic spirit, like all these ideas and everything that I'm building. And there's, you know, there's a need to address that you don't have to lose those parts of yourself just because you're choosing the timeline of peace. And so then we're like, okay, well, how do you continue to stay motivated and driven and in this process of creation and everything when you're in that timeline and that path of peace rather than chaos? And it's passion. And so it's passion and peace. It's excitement and peace. So it's like, and I do experience this often where it's like the things that I'm creating, like my app and like all the projects that I have that I'm, you know, planning in the future after the app, they're really exciting to me. They're very much driven by passion. They're very much driven like from a soul place. And so the excitement of that is the thing really to focus on. And not that I was like seeking the chaos of, you know, that traumatic event, trying to get off the island and all that stuff, but that was still living in me. Or the chaos of the house. I don't even think that the situation of the house was so much about chaos. I think it was the lesson of practicing peace, because the more that we practice peace and the more that we lean into like acknowledging the passion and the excitement and allowing that to be the exciting thing rather than the chaos, then we get to use that to push us towards that path to what we're manifesting. And so if you've made it to this message, I think that, and if it's resonating with you, I think that you really do understand that part of us that is used to, and it doesn't have to be in everything. Like maybe you experience a lot of peace in like your career. And I would say that happens for me, like in my projects and with my clients and with my offers and with my content. Like I feel a lot of peace and ease and flow and everything. When it came to like my living situation, I've had a lot attached to that and to the home, just, you know, from childhood and from everything. And so that always felt, it's been one of the things that I deeply desire is a healthy, happy, peaceful, stable home. And I know it doesn't seem like that because you guys have known me for the past 2 years of being like travel, but in my astrology and in my design and in my just own experience, I really do value the stability of a healthy, happy home. But for some reason, my lesson of chaos has always been about the place that I live in, the van, the farm, the moldy homes, the toxic relationships in the past. Like it was oftentimes around the home. So you can have peace and passion driving you in one place, but then maybe in your home or maybe in your relationship life or maybe in your friendship life or maybe in something else, you have that other pattern of the chaos of the, you know, that kind of thing driving you there. And you can change that. You can rewire that. And so that's where it comes to practicing peace and allowing yourself to start inch by inch. We were seeing that too, where it's like, at first, it's like, it's this big thing, it's hard, right? And you have to like go through this huge evolution to rechange it or to rewire it. But then slowly but surely, as you start to rewire that section of your life or your entire life, if everything is just like driving off chaos. But once you start doing that, the lesson becomes shorter and shorter and shorter and easier and quicker and easier and quicker and easier and quicker until you are just naturally in flow state and you don't attract the chaos anymore. I don't think that like there is a way to avoid like the crumble because sometimes, well, yeah, there is, but sometimes like things just have to fall apart in order for us to be redirected. Like the new friend that I made here, he was saying how he was in a car accident recently and he was fine, but you know, his car is totaled, and so his insurance is going to give him a certain amount of money, and then he is going to have to go back to his country and then buy a car there and then drive it here. And he was like, I think I manifested this, because he really had such an amazing time driving through Andorra and driving through France and Spain and like down here to Portugal the first time that he did that. And so that was really like something special to him. And there was like a deep calling that was meant to be his path again. And he also wants a bigger car for four-wheel drive or something like that. He wants a different car and he wanted this experience, but he wasn't like necessarily making it happen. So a part of him had chosen it and a part of him had known that it was for him, like that path of going to get a new car and doing that drive, but he hadn't done it, even though it was meant for him. And so he felt that he got into that car accident because that is making him now do it. He's got the money to go get a new car. He has to go to his country and now do that drive again. And so it was like, that was the crumble, but it was also very flowy, right? And so he was okay, and like no one was harmed and anything like that. So that was good. There's like a little bit of chaos, but everything since then and after that is going to be that flowy state. And so I don't think like we can just avoid like chaos completely, but we can experience the crumble in a peaceful way, and we can make that our natural state of manifestation. So I hope that this message landed with you and that you found something in it for you. I truly feel in a different timeline in this beach bungalow house, and I do love it. And I do feel like back to normal in it, and there's no areas of the house where I feel like I can't be or where I react anymore. And like, that's such a beautiful thing. For the first time last night, I sat up in the attic room, which is like this cute little wooden A-frame room, and I'll like to do a sound bath for you up there at some point, but I did the bowls for myself, and it's just really nice because it's a smaller space. Like the bowls were like, the vibrations were bouncing off the wall and everything. And it's funny because I did that and then had that conversation with my aunt. So I saw the eye of the storm and the waves crashing around and everything, and then became the ocean with that divine download. Came back here, did the bowls, played the bowls, and then had that conversation with my aunt. And then I opened my journal today to see remembering peace. And so it's not so much about finding, it is, I think, about teaching your body, but through teaching your nervous system, you then remember it, because your true essence is peace. Your true essence is love, is abundance. It is this infiniteness. It is this essence that has no end and no beginning. And so there is no need to feel that chaos. When you start to remember the truth of what you are, you remember that you are peace. It's like a coming home. And then you're not, what did my aunt say that was so profound? She said, what did she say? I really want to remember it. I'll be right back so I can remember. This wasn't quite it, but it was something along the lines of like, you're no longer in this timeline. Like, you're no longer fighting for your life. You're like, you just are in your life, and like the life is happening around you. Like, that's not exactly how it was channeled through her, but it was something along those lines. Like, you're not swimming in the chaotic waves or anything like that and like trying to survive. Like, you're just part of the wave, right? And so that's kind of what I was being shown in the ocean yesterday. So yeah, I think that there's more. What I'm feeling right now is that there's more that has to come out about this message. And I think that that's going to probably be a big lesson, and why I was brought here to Portugal was to learn this lesson and this experience of peace and this timeline of peace. Like, we were all just exploring and navigating what this timeline split means, what this new earth means.
And I think that this is a big part of it, is moving into this state and this way of being. And once this becomes your natural state in your nervous system and you choose this and you move towards this, you don't even become attracted mentally or energetically to the chaos anymore. So you no longer attract those relationships, that dynamic with your bosses, that living situation. Like you're no longer a vibrational match. And so there's no more fear about it. And that's where the disconnect kind of was for me, because I was like, how did I manifest this house and like another house where I have to run away from it? And I kept feeling like, no, you don't have to run away from it. That's not the reason why it manifested to you. And so it's just about practicing peace, remembering peace. And so it is. So I love you guys so much. If you want to join Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis or any of my other 21-day programs or my 12-week program, they are all linked below. And I will send out an email about the life edit design for 2026, whatever that is, when I finish like really the details of how we're going to go about that and getting ready for the new year. So sign up for my email list. I'll link that below as well. And you can follow Nove if you want to follow on Instagram just for updates. Once I do have updates, I'm like still very much in the design process of the app, but I do think that now that I'm settled here, feeling good here, I will definitely see a lot of momentum in that progress as well. I'm hoping. I really wanted to have it live by the end of this year, but I don't want to rush it. Like more and more about the method and like the design keep revealing itself. And so I'm going to follow that. I feel like probably in January, maybe February is when the app will launch. And I'm so excited about it. So follow on Instagram if you want updates there. And that is all that I have for you guys. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.